Welcome to the Tech Matchmaker, the show where contact center challenges meet their perfect tech match. I'm your host, Gina Gibson, and in just 15 minutes, we serve up the smartest, coolest innovations shaking up the contact center industry. Whether you're searching for your next solution or just love staying ahead of the curve, we've got the insights to keep you in the know. Let's dive in and discover what's next. I promise you, it's going to be fun. Good afternoon. Today we are chatting with Fred Stacey, the CEO from Cloud Tech Gurus, about the benefits of using tech gurus for sourcing and as well as your favorite topic, AI readiness. Fred, give us your elevator pitch for what Cloud Tech Gurus does.
So think of us as the company and organization that knows the suppliers, the industry when it comes to contact centers, how customers interact, and for the right outcomes, what are the right solutions to bring in? Through amazing people like yourself who clearly know what they're doing. Not saying you're one of the best, but it's a simple model, right? It's advisory service that helps companies really understand, the landscape of the market, who are the right suppliers, and who to really take a hard look at when it comes down to making those decisions. Because 200 CCaaS vendors in North America, 2,000 plus AI suppliers. And those numbers are just growing. So being a former agent and leader inside contact centers, back then there were like 10 players. Now there's thousands. We're here to help simplify, make it easier, be more effective, and get the right solutions. So
Excellent. What's the one thing, Fred, that you would want people to remember about CTG?
we're amazing. If we're going to remember anything, we've got an amazing group of people like you, Gina, and others who are just extensive careers in contact centers, experts in the field. We always look for wins. There's a one core value that I often share that people always get a chuckle about, but I'm serious about it is, no assholes. And I hope you don't mind me swearing, by the way. This is just the way I am. You already know this, so I'm pretty transparent, but that is one of our core values, and we take that seriously between our partners, our gurus, our clients. We do things very straightforward. Everything's transparent. There's no better way to be. So when it comes to knowing that you're going to get a straight shooter to talk you through that has tons of experience, there's no better place to go.
Excellent. I think it's also one of the factors that makes you unique in the market, right?
Yeah.
It's always about the people. Now, Fred, I know that CTG has a new product coming out onto the market. Would you like to talk a little bit about a sneak peek for us as far as what that looks like and what the benefits for our customers might be?
A lot about this, and I talked a lot about this on social. AI readiness is a much bigger project and oftentimes a downplayed project that a lot of suppliers are talking about. No, no, no. You don't have to be ready. We'll just plug in and we'll ingest all your data and we'll magically come up with this, and it'll just work. Trust us. But the reality is AI readiness is much in my opinion, it's very much like the digital transformation conversation, right? We talked about it at the contact center and customer experience lens because, we are part of that digital transformation. We helped a lot of companies migrate their customer interactions to the cloud and to omni-channel, and still are going through that process, as you very well know. There are companies that you wouldn't believe this, that are, Fortune 500 that still really haven't transformed, completely digitally. So AI falls into that category, and we keep seeing clients throw stuff at the wall and see if it sticks when it comes to AI. This is not new tech, but as you very well know, and many of the audience probably does, since November of 22, a lot of changes have happened. It's no longer about NLU, NLP, and workflow actions in the back end and machine learning through supervised learning getting better. That this stuff is a long ways, and it continues to. It continues to change daily. I spend a lot of time in this, and I'm not claiming by any means that I am completely up to date and know and understand everything. So to help companies get ready for artificial intelligence from a contact center perspective lens, but also impacting the rest of the organization is an absolute critical step that a lot of people are just not talking about. And certainly there's not a lot of organizations that have the depth and the resources and the subject matter experts, because AI readiness is not just a single consultant coming in. As you very well know, you can do a lot of stuff as a very smart individual, But when it comes down to really preparing and understanding how's your network architecture built, is your data really structured and normalized, all the right, documents and processes and change management. And I mean, this goes across, and I always say this: people, processes, and technology in that order. So putting together a team of subject matter experts was not easy, but here we are. So, two simple things. One is a maturity assessment, very lightweight, gathering documents, content, information from people through way of essentially a survey. Think of it that way. But then having actual subject matter experts in each one of the expertise of that survey to be able to validate and assign a red, yellow, green, give some, feedback, comments, information, and work with the team internally and a client. We keep it super lightweight for the contact center in order to keep that cost really effective so that almost anybody of any size can really bring in, and do a maturity assessment. And then of course there's a full-blown enterprise, which, everybody wants a quick quote on stuff like that. It's like that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between going on site with a 10,000 seat, 5 international and 2 domestic location contact center organization versus going to one site, with a small team. Yeah. So, that's a real full blown 360-degree review of an entire contact center organization, providing, not just a, red, yellow, green, but also, a full 2 to 3 year roadmap, along with products and ROI analysis and, everything you would expect from what you would get from a top 5 consulting firm, except you're getting experts in the contact center field and the price is going to be, reasonable, right? Yeah. So, yeah, again, we're really excited about bringing this to market because there is a serious need. There's so much misunderstanding and so much, fluff and noise in our space that, companies just really need to get a good handle on where they're at and where they're heading. And there's companies like us. I mean, we just happen to be one of them, but that are bringing some of these solutions to market. And we figured no better than an organization that lives, breathes, eats, and sleeps contact center and customer experience.
Absolutely. I mean, it fits into the portfolio so well, right, with the gurus.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Are there any, and I know we've talked about AI, but is there any other emerging trends that you're seeing in the industry right now that you're kind of particularly excited about or preparing for?
Emerging trends. Yeah, I'll tell you one, and AI is the driver of this. I'm excited to get IT more engaged and seeing organizations. This is forcing them to get out of their silos. Artificial intelligence is really, look, for the longest time when we sold premise, it was IT leading, and the practitioners, the people running the centers, were kind of an influencer, right? And they were, does this look like it'll work? Maybe they sit on a couple of demos and give their check off. Then cloud came, and then it went to the reverse direction where, the CX leadership and contact center leadership on the process, and IT just did the validation of APIs or integrations, and now we're actually reverting to where there can't be a silo there. Your IT team, your operations team, human resources, your data. I mean, everybody has to be involved in this, and whether you like it or not, you got to work together. There's no longer room for silos because artificial intelligence goes across the whole org. It just happens that the contact center is the tip of the spear. So that change, although some people might actually see that as a problem, I see it as a really good thing because for too long we go through these silos. Whoever leads the organizational acquisition of technology or services, it doesn't matter to me. I want everybody to get involved and have a stake and take some ownership. And I think it's great for organizations. I think it'll force those silos to come down.
I agree. I think too that it's very interesting when you bring IT and business together, right? Because AI does span the entire enterprise. It's not just in the contact center. So it's a great point you bring up.
Too.
Too.
And I love it. I think IT has to be involved. I mean, they have no choice. They own the data, they own the infrastructure. They darn well better own, at least a portion of this moving forward. But they need to work with a business practice. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Fred, just in wrapping, can you give me 2 or 3 points as to why would our customers want to use a guru and why would they want to use an advisor?
Well, other than they're amazing, the bottom line is, you know what you know. I ran centers. You're down in the weeds. You can't see the forest from within the trees. You certainly, when you're running a center or an organization or multiple centers, you don't have time to keep up with this technology. You don't have time to really dive in, and you're not taking a third party approach to this. So bringing in a guru, I mean, it's just makes sense. In some models, if it's, BRD, not very complex, it's free a lot of times to the client. Sometimes there are chargeable events, on site when you have to get a little bit deeper in the weeds, and that's okay. But it's not, hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're very targeted in understanding. Our gurus are amazing at knowing how to sift through, what are the outcomes that the company needs, what are their real challenges, and bring the organization together, to really help refine and select the right organizations to look at. And if it's not, a lot of people will raise their hand and say, look, we need AI. Let's go with, AI or .ai, whatever, because they've heard about it. And sometimes that's not the right solution. It's not even the right category to be looking to solve their problems, or they don't know and they can't possibly be aware of all the solutions that are out in the market. I mean, the ability to analyze and understand using AI, who the right agents are to hire, right? I mean, there's some amazing technology out there that people aren't even, they just go about their day because they don't have time to do the research. And that's where we come in.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, Fred, I've always been a fan of James Lipton, so we end with the rapid fire.
Okay.
So, what's your favorite word?
What's my favorite word? I don't know that I have a favorite word, to be quite frank. I don't know. Yeah, what is my
No
favorite
problem.
word? I don't have
What's
one.
what's your favorite swear word?
I try to avoid the F-bomb. Yeah, probably shit. I mean, yeah, that one probably comes out more often because there's so many use cases for it. Same way with the F-bomb, but nonetheless, I try to do a good job. I always remember my mom in the back of my head saying, there it shows that you're not very intelligent. Although the actual data shows that people that swear
Are
are
very
actually more often highly intelligent. But she always used to tell me, there are better words that you can choose that'll show your intelligence. So nonetheless, I try my best, but sometimes they do slip.
What excites you the most in life?
Learning, that's just something that I've always loved. And I was terrible at it when I was young. And, I mean, it's not a justification, but I really believe that there's something to be said about the model of learning what you want and how you want it that changes the dynamics between traditional education and, real life, real world learning. And I love learning, that, and especially right now, we're living in an amazing time. There's not enough time in the day for me to learn everything, but I've got access to everything. So yeah, I'd say
Excellent.
above everything that would be it.
Wonderful. And if somebody wants more information on using cloud tech gurus or using a guru, who should they call, Fred?
You come on, I feel like I was set up there. Absolutely, reach out to Gina,
You
no
were
brainer. Yeah, she's an amazing part of the group. But I think everybody already heard. You can find me on LinkedIn if you want to connect. I'm always happy to connect with new people. But yes, reach out to Gina.
perfect. Thank you, Fred, so much for joining us and sharing your insights. It's always such a pleasure to speak with you. Thanks so much. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Tech Matchmaker. I hope today's spotlight sparks some fresh ideas and real solutions for your contact center. Want to dive deeper into the tech we featured? Hit up the show notes for all the links and extras, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if there's a challenge you want us to tackle, don't be shy, reach out. I'll catch you soon with more innovation, more use cases, and more ways to keep your business moving forward. Stay curious, stay bold, and keep exploring what's next.